I'm Casey Viera. The San Antonio Spurs are 16 games over 500 in the month of January and second in the Western Conference. Yet, we still have our worries, and a worry that, in my opinion, I find pretty valid.
Jeff Garcia here, host of Locked On Spurs. And if I can lend, well, you can just give me your NBA. Yeah, thank you. Make sure Julian Champagnie goes to the NBA three-point shootout this All-Star weekend. He's earned it.
And I'm Devin Brown. I'm so happy to be with you two. Let's talk some basketball.
This is Locked On Spurs Squad Show, the twice-a-week show where Spurs talk gets real. No filters, no fluff, just raw takes, sharp opinions, and straight-up passion for the game. The way only Locked On Podcast Network knows how. Let's drop some dimes and squad up. The Spurs Squad Show starts now.
Indeed it does. And tonight's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Before tip-off every night, check the FanDuel app and see what's dropping during NBA Happy Hour every Friday from 6 to 7:30 Eastern Time. Welcome into the Spurs Squad Show right here on Locked On Spurs, the #1 sports podcast network. That is the Locked On Podcast Network. We have a ton to hit on tonight with the host of the title pod, Jeff Garcia, the man in the middle, NBA champion Devin Brown. I am Casey Viera because, like I said from the jump, the Spurs are playing real well. But yet there are some red flags. So we're going to talk about set flags, and we'll praise, or maybe not, we'll give a grade to the three-guard dynamic of De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, and Dylan Harper. Plus, with the trade deadline around the corner and some big names that are out there on the horizon, perhaps, so we think, we explore the possibility of what it would take to land Karl-Anthony Towns if we want him. Again, I'm not particularly sure. But what I am sure of is that the Spurs right now, despite all their winning ways, still have some holes. A byproduct of what happened last night in Houston, blowing a 16-point second half lead. If you look over the season and their 14 losses, 6 of them have been against playoff teams in the current standing right now. And in each of those 6 losses, they led by double digits in the second half. It's becoming a little bit of a thing, at least in the immediacy. And the context of the question I'm about to ask is, are we worried about this becoming a thing? Yes, I'm aware they're 30-14. Yes, I'm aware they're going to the playoffs. But in the context that this is going to hold them back from winning a championship, I'm going to pose the question, the sentiment to you first, Jeff. What is your degree of concern right now, your degree of worry with all this, with these Spurs when it comes to the grander scheme, the grander scale of winning a championship?
Scale of 1 through 10, I'm about a 7. I'm about a 7. It's up there for me. Yes. I'm worried because this is a team that has veterans that could perhaps help the young guys avoid those situations. But yet here we are. Barnes contributing to them blowing leads. Fox, does he even show up sometimes? I thought he was Mr. Clutch, Mr. Fourth Quarter. That's been kind of iffy this season. All in all, yes, I'm very concerned. What this tells me is this is a sign of a team that's not there yet. It's still a lot of basketball to play, but as of this juncture in their season, it feels like they're not yet a complete team. In other words, they haven't matured on the court yet. Part of basketball dominance, part of basketball being one of the best in the league, being best in the West, let alone the division, is learning how to close out games and hanging on to leads. This is not something new. This has been happening since preseason, start of season, and here we are. This is a very big concern, and it's how they're losing the big leads. It's they're shooting themselves in the foot, jacking up shots so early in the shot clock, costly turnovers. They go ice cold from the offense. Then their defense tends to evaporate. We've seen already this season in the second half, teams exploding for 40 points on them in the third or the fourth. Don't take my word. Why don't you ask Victor Wembanyama after the loss to Houston, where he said, same old, same old. We had a lead and we blew it. We're all aware of it. So yeah, it's very concerning, but this is where I think at this point, it's on the coaching staff. It's on Mitch Johnson to help these guys stop blowing double-figure leads. You get a reputation like that, Devin, when you got a playoff series versus a Phoenix, versus a Houston versus a OKC Denver. Like, oh, don't worry about it. These kids, they fold when the going gets tough, Devin.
Right.
Where are you at, Devin, with it?
Some key points that Jeff brings up that I want to hit on. De'Aaron Fox, 3 field goals attempts in that fourth quarter. He's from Houston. He's from Houston. So when you get to Houston and you get off the plane, it's not like the air's different. You know, in Denver, the air's different. Need better out of him, Jeff. I love that. Harrison Barnes, key turnover. Reed Shepherd steals it from him. I'm not going to say he was unaware. It's just that Reed Shepherd made a heck of a play. Now, the defense, you talk about the defense and the lack of things that we're seeing, the urgency, you know, in these road games against a team like Houston. There was no urgency yesterday. Kind of let that one slip by the wayside. And Jeff, I'm with you because Mitch needs to be more on everybody and not just on Keldon. Anybody that's watched more than 10 games this season, he will scream and yell at Keldon. But I need that for a couple other players as well. Like Keldon is your rock. He's going to do anything that you ask, even though you treat him like a beat up horse sometimes. And my apologies to the farming community, but you know, don't treat just Keldon like that. Do that with others.
PETA's coming after you, Devin.
I know, and I knew when I said it was bad, Jeff, but I had to get it out there. So my point is,
oh, sorry, Devin.
Yeah, he will scream and yell at Keldon for the simplest things, but come crunch, and this is what we're talking about, winning time inside 6 minutes. You know, we might as well be at one of our lovely YMCA's in San Antonio playing pickup, Casey.
Yeah.
Man, you know, we're real fast. I wonder if he picks on Keldon because he feels kind of like, hey, if I can chew out Keldon, the veteran, the longest tenured, then all the other guys got to listen to me. I wonder if that's kind of the same sentiment there.
No, that with number one. Then you'll get the attention of everybody. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what they say.
But Casey, real quick.
Yeah.
He won't do that.
Well, but that's what it's interesting, and I am not putting these two on the pedestal, the degree of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. But that's what they say made Tom Brady and Bill Belichick so special, right? Was that it didn't matter if you were number 1 like Brady or number 53 on that roster. If it was Brady and he did something that was worth getting chewed out, it was worth getting chewed out. But that's neither here nor there. I am at a point where last night I watched the game with Devin, obviously, like everyone else. And I left with, I think the number that I probably put on it was about a 5.5, my degree of concern. But a lot of sentiments of things that you guys said was upon further review and looking back at it, putting together my prep and my notes for tonight, it's the level of complacency, the level of or lack thereof urgency in these types of situations. And I think I credited, initially we credit a lot of that to youth and things like that. But when are we gonna stop using youth as an excuse, in my opinion? Right. How every moment that a young team would have, like, we can't rationalize every downfall that they have just because they're a young team, like yes, I'm aware, but the mistakes that they're making are not youthful things, because it's clearly registering with them, the good, because they're very good. They're 30 and 14, but we can't be praising them saying the youth has arrived and then at the same time being like, oh, it's a young mistake. It's like, no, it's like if they've arrived, they're here, because when you're here, that means you're leaving all that dumb stuff in the past, just the lack of urgency, all those things that we were talking about that a young player would be making. So where is it? Like, where are we giving them too much credit, or are they still young? And I think that line is kind of somewhere.
What do you mean by too much credit? I don't understand that.
too much validation into the fact that they're a 30-14 team right now.
So it's kind of like
We're
fool's
saying
gold. Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm trying to say, are they better than what we see them as, or not as good?
Oh,
I
I
should say,
see.
not
I
as
see what
good
you're
as what
saying.
we see them as. You know,
Well,
we
then
see
clearly
30 and
not then.
14. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just clearly not then, because if this was a complete team, then yeah, you don't blow leads as we've seen repeatedly this season. Check out some of these numbers, Devin. You're going to love this. When they're leading, excuse me, after the third quarter this season, I got it here. They're actually below 500. They're 7-8.
When they're leading after 3?
When they're leading after 3, yep. When they're leading after 3.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
And when
go ahead.
The number that I have is if they're down 10 going into the fourth quarter, what is that record?
When they're down after the fourth, say one more time, please.
After 3 quarters, when they're down 10, what is that record?
Okay, well, I have just more of an overall. By the way, they're 7. Excuse me. Let me rephrase that. Let me backtrack that. Okay, let me start over again. They're 7-8 when they're trailing after the third quarter. All right.
Okay.
All right. So
that
here's
makes
the
more
thing.
sense.
Yeah, there we go. Now, if they're leading, this is a good. If they're at home, they're 13-2. If they're leading after the third quarter. All right. Now on the road, they're 10-4 if they're leading after the third quarter, but they've led this season 29 times going into the final frame. So if you look at just the numbers, guys, they're taking care of business in totality. What the problem is that it's now becoming a pattern. It's part of their book. It's what scouts are going to say whenever the next team is up, and teams are going to take advantage of that. And to me, Devin, you've been playing the game. When it just feels like when the going gets tough, and look, all teams make their runs, this Spurs team crumbles. What we're seeing of late. So I think it just comes down to their mental fortitude, Devin.
Well, what it is and when you're building what is a championship type team, and Casey and I have talked about this before. It's games like last night, all right, not so much that you're leading after that third quarter, but when you're trailing and then you get inside 8 minutes, 9 minutes into the fourth quarter, when you're down 10, down 6, whatever, when you're able to hammer that out and get that win is when you start realizing what type of ball club you have and who you can rely on down the stretch. Right now, and Casey and I have talked about this, Jeff, I don't think Mitch knows that right now because Wemby's on a minutes restriction. So he comes out last night with 7:29 and Houston on a run. So the timing of him coming out was awful. Awful. But you have to do that because you're trying to protect the big fella. So I get that part of it. But what I don't get is that Mitch pulled the trigger quick. Here's the thing. They go into a timeout, and Keldon, love Keldon to death, but he hadn't hit a 3 in that fourth quarter. When you come back from the timeout, he's still in the game. And that's when you throw your hands up, Casey, and you go, okay, now Mitch, you're confusing me, and I've been in the building.
Build off that idea that you just said about kind of establishing an identity, and Mitch still doesn't know what they are. When do you think, and maybe this is not the simplest, traditional task of trying to find this answer because of the Victor stuff, but when does a coach get that answer? When he knows what the team is?
Well, usually after the All-Star break. After the All-Star break, you've had a chance to look at your first half of the season. Now, I know it's kind of loaded because when I was playing, it was kind of split. But now they kind of heavy first half, and then you have you have games in the second half, but everything's quick and the pace is picking up. Then once you get to the playoffs, it really picks up.
Right.
And so you got to really know these teams. And that's what I think these teams are doing a great job of as far as scouting the Spurs is because, man, like the Spurs can hit you at 14, 15, 16 threes at times, and they look really good. But when they have these stretches like yesterday where they go 0 for this or 0 for that, they don't pound the ball on the block like we talked about last night. Wemby's not going to the block. He's going to the free throw line. So that's not a whole lot of scouting you have to do. You just know that Wemby's going to do that, excuse my language, kangaroo hop at the free throw line. He's going to go to that fadeaway right side. If he hits it, you'll live with it. If he doesn't, the stuff like last night happens.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh no, I'm thinking here, like, the amount of times they've blown the leads. I mean, would you say as of this point of the season, it's actually fewer than not? Because if the numbers are screaming, no, they hold leads after the third, after half. They're single-digit losses. What if this is just one of those bump in the roads in the season? What if we're making too much of this?
Right.
If numbers don't lie, then numbers don't lie. And the Spurs do have well over 500 records when leading after the third.
Right. Well, I mean, but that's why I prefaced that at the start of the conversation when I said, yes, we're aware, they're 30 and 14. When we're saying we're worried about this, it's in the context of getting in the way of that next step. Because like right now, I think they can probably beat, with the exception of Minnesota and a healthy Denver. I mean, I've said it before. I have a hard time believing that they could not beat anybody else in the West in a 7-game series. Like that's how high I am. So the point that I make when we present the subject matter, it's not in the context of saying that it's a flaw, it's a detriment, because if it was a flaw of this team, they would not be 30 and 14. Above all else, they're doing a whole lot more good. But this is in the context of becoming a playoff team and becoming a championship contender. When I expressed my concern, my worry with that. But that's what I was saying. I was like, it's a 30 and 14 number record that you have right there at second in the Western Conference. Is that shallow in the context that you do know that this is a flaw and you could be picked off? Doesn't matter what the record is, doesn't matter what seed you are, because of these flaws that you continue to have. That's the point that I'm getting at. And at the end of the day, it is more bad than good, and they've been fantastic. And again, in the grand scheme of things. But I do think that this is a thing that's like you said, the book is out. It's in the report that these guys in some of these games, they can be had. And more often than not, they have not been had. They've gotten the better. But it's a thing. It's a thing for sure.
I think although my alarm meter is at a 7 right now, because I am worried that this is becoming a little bit more often than not. I do think it'll level off though as the season progresses. I think that we've seen them make improvements in other areas from the start of the season. Remember they coming out flat at halftime. They kind of fixed that for a while. We kind of fell back into it, but they showed some signs of progress. That we can correct that. So here's another chance for them to get better, and that is maintaining leads. And again, Devin, all NBA teams make runs. It's going to happen. All right, fine. But then if you start going into the minutia of it, then we have problems. Then we have problems offensively, and I think we've been seeing some offensive problems of late. They go into these droughts. I mean, it's bad. And then defensively, they start to slip. So it just seems to me that although the record is great, this team that's just came out of the rebuild, it's still technically under construction. I liken this to Casey, like a soft opening of a new restaurant. It's a soft opening. Yeah, it's a soft opening. We're not there yet, but it's a soft opening. Come on in, check it out our good food. We're gonna wow you, some of our plates, but we're almost there yet. We're not quite there yet.
In my hometown, we had a TGI Fridays open. This is true story. We had a TGI Fridays open and a soft opening. 2 months later, about 6 weeks to 2 months later, the place burned down.
Yeah. Thanks, Casey.
Hopefully it doesn't have the same conclusion fate for the Spurs. All right, coming up on the other side, we're going to talk about something that was a real talking point with the squad at the start of the year, that three-guard combination. We're over the midway point of the season, going to give a letter grade. We feeling good, we feeling bad, not particularly sure. That's why you got to come back. Plus, trying to figure out if Karl-Anthony Towns could be a suitable candidate to be a San Antonio Spur after the trade deadline. Let it marinate a little bit, because right here on the Spurs Squad Show on Locked On Spurs, we, as we always do, show love to some of our friends who help drive this program. You already know by now, I told you about what FanDuel's got going on. They're the title sponsor. And what exactly is different this time of year with them? Well, they have the NBA happy hour every Friday night. What is it? Well, it's your official pregame, a limited time window when you open up the app that the offers drop right inside, and you get a chance to make some more money. Fridays, 6 to 7:30 Eastern time, appointment viewing with this NBA happy hour. Good chance for you to make your winnings even better. You pop open the app, and they're always bringing you something new. Boosts, bonuses, surprises, something that you're going to want to keep an eye on. As Spurs are off on Friday, so come back. Have a little fun with this happy hour thing. Again, every Friday, 6 to 7:30 Eastern time, with a whole lot of basketball action, a little Friday energy. NBA happy hour, of course, only on FanDuel, the official sportsbook partner of the NBA. Also want to make mention of the Everydayer Club that we have here with the Locked On Podcast Network. Really cool. And obviously we appreciate the work that you guys do, the listener, and making all this stuff happen, and the reason the Locked On Podcast Network, the #1 sports podcast network in the world. This is only making things even better. Check out that site, lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer, to be a part of an exclusive club, not only with Locked On Spurs, whatever team, whatever college it may be. You get everything from ad-free audio feeds to members-only Discord where the hosts chime in. It's a lot of fun. Again, lockedonpodcast.com/everydayer. The only trio better than the three of us, I would say, are De'Aaron Fox, Dylan Harper, and Stephon Castle. No, I'm shaking his head no.
We're better. We're better.
Yeah, we're better. Yeah. Believe it or not, guys, we are already halfway through the experiment of the Stephon Castle. You get to look at Wemby as soon as I say that. Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper.
Man, Harper's fast there. Look at that.
Yeah, I know. I did that one for effect, right? We knew at the start of the year it was going to be a growing process. It was going to be a learning process. It was going to be something a little bit outside the box, and it's been a little bit of an outside the box operation. But still, at the end of the day, if you want to talk about success, like we did in the previous block, the success has been there and the wins have been there. And it's still a growing process through 44 games. Letter grade time. Devin Brown, put your stamp on it. 44 games down. What are you thinking?
All right. I'm just going to keep it simple. Harper does a little bit too much shot hunting for me. C. Fox has been good. Every time you look up and you think he's having a bad game, he's got 20. You know, it's like, wow. Is he a legit Robin? You know, for all the nerds out there, I'm gonna give him a B-. And Castle, you know, Castle's made a lot of improvements, but here lately it's been the foul trouble that I have a problem with. And it's been the over-aggressive 1-against-3, 1-against-4, nowhere to go. And everybody's like, what's he doing? I have a problem with that. So we're going to go C+ there. So, and I hope the question isn't want to see these three guys on the floor, because if I look at that from my numbers, Jeff, and I'm just looking at a piece of paper and a pen. I don't have all the stuff you have. If I look at that, that's about 32% three-point shooting. That's not going to fit with Wemby. I think Harper, the last thing I'm going to say, I think Harper's done enough where You can include him as the headliner in a trade. Go get somebody. Done.
Wow.
What would you say collectively as a group? The experiment. The group project.
It's all right. It's all right.
That's actually a professional grade there.
Hey,
all right.
Jeff Casey, I'm going to go old school on you, one of the old heads. It's all right.
It's all right.
There you go.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. Devin took a lot of my talking points here, but if I have to go one by one, then collectively, I'll start off with Harper. I'm going to give him a C-. I really haven't seen that much progression, that much development out of him. He just wants to attack that paint. Now, I'll give him credit. He shows signs of a really good facilitator. Thumbs up on that. But has he really shown a willingness to knock down a midi consistently, or at least attempt them? I don't know yet. His three-point shot, still iffy. He makes a couple here and there, but again, not consistent. It feels like he's just the same kid at Rutgers, just in a different uniform. So, yeah, I'm going to say C- with a lot of room to growth. And I'm a little generous there because I see how high his ceiling can be. I go Castle, exactly what Devin said, word for word. Too many turnovers of late, too many foul trouble issue games, forcing the action. I mean, Devin, Casey, I'm there at the Frost. I see him. He's on a break. He has Fox next to Wemby trailing him, and he goes 1-on-4. He goes 1-on-3. He doesn't pull that basketball out and say, all right, it ain't going to work. I'm just start all over. No, he wants to force the action, which is good. I love his aggressiveness. I love it. I mean, that's the Rockets about that dunk he had. I love that. But I think there's still a lot more basketball maturity. The skill set is there. The tools are there. Shot really hasn't improved. But I do like the fact that he has progressed as a facilitator of this season. He's hovering around near double-figure assists this year. So I'm going to bump him up a bit. I'm going to give him a B. I'm going to give him a solid B so far. And as far as Fox, yeah, Devin, you're right. There's sometimes I'm seeing that media row. I'm like, and I look to my left, look to my right, talk to my other media members like, hey, what's Fox done today? Oh, yeah, he has 20 already. My bad. Such a quiet force. He did have kind of a hiccup recently where he just kind of fell off the map for a while. But again, as a veteran, he said the right thing. He goes, I'll snap out of it. It's just one of those moments. And he has. I was kind of surprised when I looked at his averages so far at this juncture of the season. He's the second leading scorer on the team. Yeah. His rebounding, I believe, is up this year. So, yeah, he's still doing pretty good. I'm going to give him an A-. I give him an A-. Now, collectively, I pulled up the minutes. I pulled up the three-man lineup for you guys.
Okay, of course.
Of course. So, Fox, Castle,
you need the data to back the argument. So I
need the data to back
it up. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, I'm a little upset I haven't seen more of the trio on the floor at the same time. So far, I believe we only had them 11 minutes together on the court. That's it. They rarely get on there together. But when they are together in those 11 minutes, it's a small sample size, everybody. I get that. They're a net minus 28.4. They don't help themselves at all. So, but if we just go simply two-man lineup, because that's the most we've gotten, Fox, Castle, when they're on the court together, they're a plus 3.1. When Castle and Harper are together, they're a plus 5.2. And when Fox and Harper are on the court, they are a plus 2.5. So just going by numbers alone, your better one is Castle and Harper, the two young bucks there. Overall, I think this trio of guard is still an experiment as far as playing together. But as far as the two-man lineups that we've seen, I'm going to give it a B. There's still room to grow, Casey.
I've been very underwhelmed by Dylan Harper. Maybe it's the injury. He missed 10 games with the calf. That's not an easy one. Maybe it's being a rookie trying to fit into it. Maybe it's because the three-guard dynamic is not traditional at all. But if you look at the three, and it probably is because he's a rookie, he is the odd man out. But it's not just feels like he's the odd man out. It's like he's not even close right now to Castle and De'Aaron Fox. Not that I would expect him to be as close as that, but it feels like there's just been we're waiting for I feel like we're just waiting for something to validate a lot of the good feelings that we've had. 20-point game here, 20-point game there. But then he goes through a stretch where 9 of his 12 or 10 of 13, I think what it ended up being, he didn't crack double-digit scoring. And I know you're not banking on him to put up 20 a night, but when you're hitting less than a third of your shots and less than 20% of your threes, and you're not being an impactful player, it's hard to get overly excited about that first half of the season. Now, am I trading Dylan Harper tomorrow? In all likelihood, no, because I agree with what Devin's saying. He's still a very prized prospect, and you're not bailing on that. But if you want to put a real lens on it, I'm with you guys. I have a hard time going anything better than a C with this first 40-plus games, because he hasn't really given them reason to. And that might even be too generous. As for the Stephon Castle thing, at the start of the year, I bought all the stock.
Yes, you did.
I bought every bit of stock that you could possibly sell me on Stephon Castle. And the way the season played out, it would progressively look more and more that might have been slightly ambitious. But at the end of the day, he's done a whole lot more good than bad. And we probably would have been a little too ahead of ourselves to firmly plant that all-star caliber stamp that we're on, this year, because we should have known, at least me, I don't want to speak for you guys, that there would be just an inevitable fall off, because that's how the NBA works more often than not. But there are a lot of things that are alarming with it. The shot selection's been bad. He has not shot the ball well. The turnovers have been terrible. Will that stuff iron it out? I don't know. I'm not particularly sure, but I think what's encouraging is that along the way, I think he and Fox are really starting to settle in next to each other. They're really starting to settle in. I think there's still things that they might have to figure out. The alpha dynamic of the two, probably the biggest one. And we say it all the time here. This is Devin saying it all the time, that Stephon Castle's not waiting for De'Aaron Fox. He's not waiting for De'Aaron Fox's feelings. He's going to do him. And hell, even if Victor's on the floor, we've seen even with Victor's on the floor, cool, yeah, you're Wemby, I'm Stephon Castle. I got a shot to make an impact. I'm going to do it, for better or worse. We'll see what happens. But I probably give him a B+, Stephon Castle. Past couple weeks really regressed him from a strong A, but you'll take a B+. De'Aaron Fox has been everything you could ask for. If you want to look at it if you wanted to give it have it in perspective for what it is, when you were getting De'Aaron Fox, you were getting an all-star caliber player. Is he a true, like Devin said, Robin on a championship winning team? I'm not officially there yet, nor was I before that. But I think he's an all-star caliber player. And this team is not 30-14 without him. This team doesn't win 3/4 of their games. I'm not sure what the math is now, but the first 3/4 of the games that Victor misses without De'Aaron Fox. He gets clobbered in some of these crunch time moments where he doesn't play particularly well, last night being one of them. But if it means that you're going to win a whole lot more at the expense of him having some crunch time lapses, you do it 10 times out of 10. The rest of the way, though, we'll see. We say it all, the three of us, we say it all the time. That jersey is different that he wears. This is cool. This is fun. And that's why the pressure is on him going forward, probably more so than any other Spur, I feel like. Because Victor's always just going to get some semblance of a pass just because he's Victor with the fan base. He can do no wrong. So who does that put that microscope on? De'Aaron Fox, highest paid player on the team, former All-Star, has has all that around his name. This is good. It's been a fantastic first half of the season for him. But there's a whole lot more basketball to go and a whole lot more perspective to be had. But right now, anything other than an A for De'Aaron Fox, I think you can't do it, because he's been fantastic. And collectively, a group as a whole, I would give them as a group probably a C+. The end result, however, it's an A, and that's all that matters. So you meet somewhere in the middle, we'll call it a B. But the dynamic between the three, I think what I've learned at the end of the day is that there will be an odd man out at some point. I don't know which one it'll be. You get the feeling if you have this conversation, it would be Harper, but I don't know which one it'll be. But there's going to be an odd man out, because the 3-guard dynamic with them on the floor at the same time, it's not going to work. No, it's not going to work at all. but using them and having Harper as a good backup point guard on a competitive team, okay. But long term, they'll have to break it up in some capacity.
Is it fair, though, that they really haven't got enough time together, all three on the court at the same time? Only 11 minutes logged in.
I don't think it's an issue of time.
Okay.
I think it's just an issue of skill set.
Okay.
What we see, like, I don't admittedly, like, De'Aaron Fox has done a better job on the spot up. Maybe Devin can speak and sees a little bit differently, but I just think they are kind of what they are, and it just doesn't work for a team that just needs the shooting consistently.
Well, here's something interesting. If you take the players individually, just Fox out there with another crew, or Castle out there, no Harper, no Fox with them, just individually out there with the team. It's actually Dylan Harper who has the better net rating. He's a plus 10.6 when just him, he's out there with the team. No Fox, no Castle. It's him. He has the better impact. Statistically, it's plus 10.6. That's according to Data Baller. So I find that very fascinating. how the numbers work.
Well, the thing about that, and I love, all the numbers from, Daddy Baller and Mommy and all them. But the thing about it is
it's
the eye test.
It's Data Baller.
Data Baller, my bad. Sometimes these things, Jeff, Casey, sometimes these things slip my mind.
What website are you going to?
What it is from the eye test, when I see Dylan Harper come down the court and Wemby's got his, he's 7'5" with the wingspan of whatever, a pterodactyl or whatever, and he's asking for it, and you dribble the other way, I have a problem with that. Mm-hmm. And Dylan Harper does that a lot. Stephon Castle, like both of you said, he's starting to do it. And I wondered the other night, this thing right here, and Jeff, maybe you have the numbers on this.
What you got?
Between the three of them, who averages the most assists are, and I know they have this stat, the most touches. Who does Wemby get the most touches from when they're handling the basketball? Because I know it can't be Harper. He's always looking him off. And so my whole thing is when other teams go on a run, let's get Wemby the ball and figure it out from there. But for some reason, Harper has a hard time doing that. De'Aaron will throw it to him, and Castle at times. But that's just what I'm having a problem with, Casey.
Yeah. You got those numbers, Jeff? Because we got to hit a break.
Give me a few minutes. Give me a few more minutes. No, hit the break.
Okay. All right. We'll revisit it before we get out of here, that stat, because if we're putting having Jeff dig to it, we got to get that number out there. Coming up on the other side, there's a guy who knows how to shoot, who's pretty good on the offensive end, and potentially could be had. Rumors are circulating. That's Karl-Anthony Towns of the New York Knicks, perhaps at a little bit of an impasse with the coaching staff front office. Could that be an option for the San Antonio Spurs? We will hit on that and a little bit more right here on the Spurs Squad Show on Locked On Spurs. But before we do, let's talk about our friends over at Quo. Of course, QUO, you know them as. New years, new systems. This time was oftentimes the year when we look at how we run our businesses and we just think, man, it's a mess. There's got to be a better way. That's why we're talking about Quo. Again, QUO, the smarter way to run your business communications, because when your team is reachable, organized, communicating all in one place, they're not just working cleaner, they're creating more opportunities to connect with the customers, and that's above all else. Quo is, check this out, the #1 rated business phone system on G2, 90,000 businesses as a whole. Stocks from solo operators to growing teams, they put their stock in these guys. So make this year where no opportunity, no customer slips away. Try it for free, 20% off your first 6 months when you go to quo.com/LockedOnNBA, QUO.com/LockedOnNBA. No missed calls, no missed customers. NBA trade deadline rapidly approaching, February 5th. So what's that? 2 weeks? A little over 2 weeks away.
It's coming up quick.
And you would think that the Spurs, being deep in postseason aspirations. I was going to say contention. Postseason aspirations would be looking to fill a void, one of them being shooting. How about probably, or at least the self-proclaimed best big man shooter of all time? Karl-Anthony Towns is maybe on the block, perhaps. We don't know per se, but what we do know, he's been butting heads with Mike Brown, head coach, and the Knicks entered Wednesday winners of only 2 of their last 11 games. With Cat perhaps being a little bit of the odd man out in things, but you know how they go in New York. Everyone's always kind of on the trade block if you have a bad week. 21 points, 11 boards, 47% from the field, 36% from 3, pushes 40% all time from 3. The numbers on the math on the contract is what people get caught up on things. He's going to be owed over the next 3 years $170 million, 60 in that last year, but that's a player option. And then the defense, above all else, is what really, and the lack thereof, I guess, is what really has people feeling a little bit cautionary about Karl-Anthony Towns. But again, multi-time All-Star, was an All-Star starter last year, 3rd-team All-NBA. It is certainly not void of talent. I have come across Fred Katz of The Athletic. He put it out there that if things go really sour, Cat can be had for cents on the dollar. Referencing the Trae Young trade that happened a couple of weeks ago, where they got CJ McCollum and Corey Kispert back from the Wizards. That's it. Me personally, I think that's tremendously insulting. But I popped together a deal for you guys. I wanted to put up in a little bit of the context of that, of what you saw with the Trae Young thing, a buy low type deal. And what I put together was that in exchange for Cat and a money match in Pacom Dadier, also a Frenchman, the Knicks would receive Devin Vassell, Harrison Barnes, Jeremy Sohan, and the Atlanta first-round pick from this year, which currently, as stands, if you go by way of chalk, so to speak, it would be the 12th pick in the draft. I'll ask you both. We'll start with Devin. You signing off?
First of all, I don't even know if you can pop that up again. I don't even know that second name the Knicks would give. It looks like a really good novel.
Yeah.
I don't even know who that is. But, you know, the thing that I have to say about this is, I mean, that's a lot of shooting that the Spurs would be giving up. And I understand, you know, the biggest thing, though, is, and I got to kind of go, and I don't want to, but I will, gotta go Draymond Green on you here. This is the second year that he's having a problem with the coach. So is it in the mirror? Or is it the system? Because it's 2 different systems. You know, both the coaches you speak of in Thibodeau and Mike Brown, you're the last line of defense, Karl-Anthony Towns. So is it defense? You know, are they wanting you to work hard because of some of your shot selection? Like, I don't know. So I don't want to get heavy into that because that's one of the many trades that's out there. For me, it's more of, will he help? Yeah, of course he would help. But man, giving up a guy like Harrison Barnes, like what does that say when you have a guy that's put all this money into the community? Like, what does that say about your organization? Like, I don't know. I'm all over the place with this case. Jeff, I'm gonna turn it to you. I'm all over right now.
Cat, make it a deal for Cat. Well, look, if the report is true that it's penny of the dollar, then all right, let's explore that. But personally, I don't think New York will do a pennies on the dollar deal for Cat. No way. No, I don't think so. Look, there's been rumblings in the past about Giannis, right? You know, the big man next to Wemby. You know, what about Lauri Markkanen? There's that guy. So if the Spurs do need that second big, legit big, and I feel bad. I mean, Cornette's been playing well this season. I mean, it's definitely an upgrade. I mean, it's for sure an upgrade. You get that big man floor spacer. You get a proven commodity in the NBA. Yeah, a guy who could take off a lot of pressure off Wemby. I'd explore it, Casey. I think I'm down. Let's investigate that. Brian Wright, do your thing right now. But what is pennies on the dollar? Like, what would that be? No,
right.
I mean, Sohan, sure, okay, fine. The Knicks do need a kind of more length in that position, but if the Knicks are willing to take some of those draft picks off our hands, I mean, Atlanta is not going to really pan out. So there's that. What about their own? They can give up their own this upcoming draft. So far we have Sohan, a couple of first rounders. Yeah, unfortunately, I think you would have to throw in a Harrison Barnes. You would have to throw in. You think if I go Keldon Johnson, that's really pushing it too much?
I don't think they would do Keldon. Plus the Devin, part of the reason it's framed like that too is the money match as well. Because Cat's
yeah, that's right. I forget. How much money does he make? Yeah,
53.
That's right. My bad.
So those numbers I throw on there, that equates to match up with the 53 and whatever small amount that Dottier is getting. Don't have that off the top of my head. I'm with Jeff. The Knicks would be there. There is no trade that the Knicks could make that would make them, barring the Giannis thing, that would make them any closer to a title if it involves Karl-Anthony Towns going out. And I know they haven't been playing well. They actually won tonight. So they had a team-only meeting, and they took it out on the Brooklyn Nets and beat them by 50+.
Shocker. The Nets just happened to be on that schedule that night.
I know. Cat played 20 minutes at 14 and 8. There's no trade that the Knicks would make that with Karl-Anthony Towns going out of town, they become a better team, at least in the immediacy. The cents on the dollars thing, and it confuses me too, because Fred Katz of the Athletics, really good. And that's a relatively credible no, not relatively. That's a credible source. But I just don't understand how this was a Knicks team just a couple weeks ago that beat the Spurs in the Cup and was riding high. And so I'm at a point where I'm just confused at how it spiraled so fast, if it is continuing to spiral. And if they want it to the point where they want cents on the dollar, like that essentially is like, I don't want to say you're giving Cat away, because it is a crack at the lottery. Theoretically, that Atlanta pick, Devin Vassell, obviously a very good player. I couldn't see in a normal world the Knicks signing off on that. But if the deal is in fact there because they're just not getting along and it's an addition by subtraction type thing, okay. Then yeah, if it means that Vassell, Sohan, Harrison Barnes in the first rounder, if I'm the Spurs, take that. Yeah, I think if that were the trade, Karl-Anthony Towns comes to San Antonio, I think the Spurs are the favorite to win the championship, because so much of what Cat does is fantastic on the offensive end, but the caveat is the flaws on the defensive side. And one of the big impasses that they're having over there with him and Brunson, neither of them are very good defenders, and you can't have 2 out of your 5 guys not be good defenders. This, you have at times, depending on the lineup, 4 other guys who could bail Cat out, including the best safety in the league with Victor. I don't think the Knicks would do it. I don't think they would do it. But the idea, I want to go back to that idea of the coach thing that Devin was bringing up. When do you think that becomes just kind of the identity of a player, to the point that like that's the caveat getting in the way of the trade?
I mean, when you talk about New York, that's a different kind of pressure than what we, I know we got, the Zuliaks, the Zandals, Jackals, whatever they're called, and the baseline bums. They've been here for years as a fan base. And then we got, the regular Spurs fans and things like that. But when you talk about New York, when you talk about Chicago, LA, that's a whole different animal when it comes to the media, when it comes to how you handle yourself in the media and just in the public in general. So when you talk about a player and a coach in a market like that having a problem, it's going to get blown way out of proportion.
That's true. Yep.
So the thing about it is that, I know Mike Brown very well. Can't say I know Cat, like that, but I know Cat wants to win. And Mike Brown, he has an open door policy. Whereas when I played for Coach Sloan, I mean, if you went anywhere near that door was closed. So you just got to deal with that. So, but with Mike Brown, if Cat has a problem, just go to Mike. Y'all will address it, hammer that out. Might take you 15, 20 minutes, and you move on. So I think, with all this stuff coming up, and especially that source, which means he's in the locker room or near that locker room. So he's hearing this, very close to the vest. If I'm Cat, I have a conversation with Mike Brown and I hammer it out. Let's move forward. Let's try and bring New York the big championship like they did the NBA Cup.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Let's just say, Casey, I'm with you that yes, adding Cat would vault the Spurs into a legit NBA title contending team, but I don't think it would have happened this season. I don't think it was, because you would disrupt chemistry, because you're gonna have to unload. Look, New York is gonna want a haul. No shot against Cats. Good reporter, but I don't think they're going to settle on pennies of the dollar. So, and the Spurs team has already made it clear. I don't think they're going to gut the roster. I think if you get Cat, you're probably gonna have to unload a Harper, unload a Barnes, and Barnes is an incredible locker room guy. Yeah, y'all guys have no idea what I see in that locker room. He is like a glue guy for them. There's Keldon, and then he's right below them. So I don't think the Spurs are willing to do that. Okay, so let's just say they do. All right, they do that. I think they'll have to reset, get him acclimated, get him into it. What do they always say, Devin? Oh, since Wemby's been on board, us players, we have to learn how to adjust to him. Cat's going to want his touches. Castle's going to want his touches. Wemby's going to want his touches. Fox is going to want his touches. See what I mean? There's only one basketball. I think it'll take a lot of time than maybe half a season to get it done.
I don't know if Harper's name would get into the equation, but you throwing that out there just sparked a wild idea in my head.
Oh, here we go.
Because could the Spurs, excuse me, and Dylan Harper, could that aspect of it, and then the money, whatever which way you get there, could that be the third team that would get a Giannis to New York deal done? At the San Antonio,
yeah,
get Harper.
Harper goes back home practically.
No, to the Bucks. He would go to the Bucks.
Oh, to the Bucks. Sorry, go to the
Harper
Bucks.
to the Bucks. Giannis to the Knicks. Cat to San Antonio.
I think that would go on more than just Harper in there. A lot more.
The Bucks.
Yeah. No, I'm hearing you. I think.
Well, if the Knicks got Giannis for Cat, even up there, I mean, they're fine.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
They're fine.
Okay.
But the trade you had on the screen, I mean, it would.
Yeah, can I see it one more
is
time?
Harrison going to play the 5 for them?
Okay, let's see. Let me see this again. Harrison Barnes and the Atlanta swap. Man, Casey.
That's why we have these conversations.
Hey, Casey, all I need you to do is take that second name off. I don't even know.
Yeah. There's something wrong with that. I don't know.
That is the deal breaker over there.
Well, I mean, who is that?
Well, the Knicks will have to send somebody out to make the money work. So.
That's the filler. That's the filler player, right?
Yeah, that's the filler.
Oh, hey, okay.
On the topic of money, we got to pay some bills before we get out of here. So coming up on the other side, we're going to talk about what we want to see 2 games in between now and when we get together this time next week. Then we'll put a tidy bow on things right here on the Spurs Squad Show on Locked On Spurs. But we got one more of our dear friends who help drive this program to talk to you before we get out of here tonight. And it's time for your reminder, if you're not hearing this enough at home from your significant other, to prioritize your health and go to the doctor, because listen, there's no more walking it off. There's no more pretending that the back is stiff and you just slept wrong. You got to take your health seriously. And Doc, they make it easier to do that, because staying healthy is more than hitting the gym, it's more than just eating right. It's actually about getting things checked out when you're feeling off. Use the ZocDoc app. and it makes scheduling easier. You can search in-network for doctors right away, book right away in the app. Real appointment times are listed, including same-day visits. About two of the many things that they offer that make your life easier to get your health figured out. So stop putting off your appointments and get the care you need. Go to ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA to find and instantly book a top-rated doctor today. ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. One more time, ZocDoc.com/LockedOnNBA. All right, almost time for us to get up on out of here. A couple quick points for you guys to, getting a final thought about what you're anticipating, what you're hoping to see over the next few days. Of course, Utah tomorrow, Thursday, that game at Utah, then back home Sunday against the Pelicans before our next squad show, which is Tuesday, ahead of what will be Spurs and Rockets again, the 28th, one more time, twice in a week span. Devin, what are you keeping an eye out for?
The Jazz on the road, always tough road trip. I mean, very tough. Playing there is going to be really cold. Not San Antonio cold, really cold. So you got to get up for that game. Plus, Jazz are looking to get back at you. Pelicans, the last game I saw them play a couple nights ago, Zion was back. They look athletic. You got Trey Murray over there. Your boy Jordan Poole's back, firing up, doing his BS. So Pelicans gonna look good. Utah's gonna be good. What I want to see, to answer your question, is I want to see the Spurs focus in on their defense, share the ball on offense, and go get 2 wins.
Is it weird that I want to see them have a big lead and then see these teams go at them just to see if they grew and learned this? That's what I want to see.
Why not?
I want to see the Pelicans or the Jazz be down and then make some furious comeback in the second half of the fourth quarter. Not because I want the Spurs to lose, but because I want this team to learn how to maintain these leads. That's what I want to see. But at the same time, obviously, I want to see a 2-0 record by the next time we meet. But versus Jazz, send a message to that Utah team that, hey, that first game, that was a fluke. Yeah, this is the last time we're meeting this season. Let's send you off on the bang and say, you know what, you're messing around with the big boys here. We're the Spurs. You're just the Jazz. Go get yourself a top pick. Y'all are heading that way. Anyway, as far as the Pelicans are concerned, same thing. You cannot discount this Pelicans team. Their record doesn't reflect how feisty this team is. They're taking teams to the brink this season. You can only imagine if they were fully healthy, what this team could be record-wise. So, do not sleep on the Pelicans. So that's what I want to see from the Spurs. And by the way, Devin, I do have that answer for you regarding who passes to Wemby the most.
Go
want
ahead.
to know? You want to know, or you want to wait till after Casey you say your piece?
No, because you say it and it leads me into what I want to say. Go ahead.
All right. How do you want to do this? You want to go from least to highest?
Go ahead.
Yeah, least to highest. So,
of the 3 guards, which guard passes the least to Victor Wembanyama? Dylan Harper.
Yeah, I already. I knew.
And that's perfect.
I knew that.
Yeah,
I told you, Casey. I told you.
And that's exactly what I was hoping you were going to say, because we spent a lot of time knocking Dylan Harper on this program today. I believe the word I said was underwhelming. I want to see at least one game from Dylan Harper over the next 2 to shut me up and make me feel a way about things. That's what I want to see. Don't care which one it is. Jazz, Pelicans, do one of the 2, because I need to start feeling good about this guy. Before we get out of here, Jeff, what's on the title pod tomorrow?
Yeah, we're going to preview Spurs Jazz and then asking the same question, get a little more depth into it. What is up with these disastrous fourth quarters, disastrous leads just getting evaporated in an instant? Speed of Locked On Spurs. Make sure to go check out, I guess, when is this? So tomorrow's episode. So Wednesdays, because we had the CEO of Victory Capital come on, share some stories about that partnership with San Antonio Spurs. He actually shared an interesting story about what Chris Paul had to say about the Victory Capital Performance Center. All that and more, including, if you go to kensfi.com/Spurs right now, a chat I had with Lindy Waters III. Yeah, that guy that gets in some spot minutes sometimes. Believe it or not, very, very underrated player as far as helping this team get better. He talked about one of his worst shooting nights ever and how it helped the Spurs during the recent offensive slump. Again, go check it out.
Bright and early, Kens5.com, Locked On Podcast Network, as we always do. And, of course, you'll catch Devin and I following Jazz Spurs, 8 o'clock tip time tomorrow. And as we always do when we get out of here, show love to you guys, the everydayers. You make all this fun, make all this possible. And, again, we love doing what we do because of you guys. Good stuff tonight, fellas. Appreciate always getting together. Again, our next squad show going to be Tuesday, back to our normal day, 9 o'clock right here on Locked On Spurs. Looking forward to seeing you all then. So for Mr. NBA champion Devin Brown, the host of the title pod, Jeff Garcia, the man in the middle, I'm KCBR. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday night, what's left of it, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.